I'm Brian with All Speed Customs. Today we're over here at Steve Morris Engines getting ready to chassis dyno one of our latest domestic supercars. This is a 1970 Firebird. It's got a twin turbo Pontiac engine in it. We're going to just go through the tune, see what it'll do, and hopefully make a lot of horsepower. So stay tuned and watch this. We'll see what it'll do. We're back with All Speed Customs here. We're going to give you an overview of the power plant in this 1970 Firebird that we've seen on the chassis dyno. What this is true Pontiac power at its finest. What we have is an American Indian 2 cast iron cylinder block, and we have the Kaufman 340 CNC ported aluminum cylinder heads, and then from there everything's pretty much custom built by All Speed. We have a full twin turbo setup with stainless steel headers, downpipes, bullseye power, 66 millimeter with the billet compressor wheel, turbos, one on each side. We've got a custom ground hydraulic roller camshaft ground to our specs here, and we're running the Jessel shaft rocker system. It's running the fast XFI EFI system, all custom tuned. We're running dual injectors per cylinder. We've got a 65 pound and a 90 pound injector, and basically how that works is when this car is just driving around town, not really making any boost, it's running off a 65 pound injector. As soon as it starts making boost, the second injector kicks in. Basically it really helps to get good fuel economy. This engine, although it's over 1,000 horsepower, will get 21, 22 miles a gallon on the highway. We've got a billet specialties custom accessory drive kit, all black, aluminum billet pulleys, tucks everything into the engine real nice and tight. We've got a Griffin dual pass aluminum radiator with electric cooling fans. We're running a full air-motive fuel system, Rick stainless steel tank with air-motive eliminator EFI fuel pump in it. We've got an air-motive A1000 billet bypass regulator. While you're under the hood here, you also notice we're running a Hydrotech power brake assist unit. How that works is it actually works off the pressure from the power steering fluid rather than engine vacuum. We've got a Willwood dual tandem master cylinder, custom billet intake from Visitor engine development along with matching valve covers. And then you can see these tubes here are feeding the intake. They run from a custom air-to-air aluminum intercooler that's front mounted here. And we're running tile wastegates and tile blow-off valves. And basically that's the heart of the beast here. Oh, like I said, well over 1,000 horsepower. That's on pump gas at only 10 pounds of boost. We can crank it up to 15, 18 pounds of boost and see over 1,500 horsepower. Some important things to note when you service this vehicle are the locations of the different access points or places to check the fluid levels and that. Right down here, this is the engine oil dipstick. It is accurate, so when you drain the fluids from the pan, you can check here the engine oil. Also, just below that, you can access the oil filter from the bottom side of the car. The oil filter is a flat pancake style, and it is cleanable and reusable. You just have to split the case in half, and there's a screen filter in there that can just be cleaned, reassembled, and you're good to go. There's a fuel pressure gauge here if you ever need to check the fuel pressure for any reason. Each valve cover has a hose that leads down under the fender. Under each of those fenders is an engine oil breather tank. Those can be drained from the bottom side of the car, right near the lower fender bolt on either side. If you need to check the coolant level, the radiator cap and the overflow tank are here on this side. And then if you change the coolant, the highest point of the coolant system is here, and there is a bleeder screw there. When you do change the coolant, you're going to need to bleed the air out of the system to make it run at the proper temperature. Air conditioning charge ports are right here under this fender well. If the AC system ever needs to be recharged, this is the location to do it. Over on the other side of the vehicle, if you need to check the power steering tank has a remote reservoir located just under this K&N air filter. You can remove this band clamp, take the K&N filter out of there, and then you can access the power steering tank. Take the top off, it should be 3/4 to all the way full of power steering fluid. Master cylinder is here. There's 4 Allen head screws. Remove those. There's a front and rear chamber, just like a standard brake system that needs to be full of fluid. This reservoir here is your fluid for your hydraulic clutch and your slave cylinder. Just unscrew the cap, or it is clear, so you can see that at this point it's full. Engine oil fill is this cap here. You can unscrew this cap, put the oil in the engine. Other than that, that should be all you need to do for routine maintenance on this vehicle. If you do need to check the fluid in the transmission or rear end, they both have regular access ports, just like a standard transmission and rear end. You pull out the port and you should be able to stick your finger in there and feel fluid right at that level. These are the Aero Catch hood latches. In order to get the hood open, all you need to do is push this front section of the latch down. The back section will pop up, and then you can just pull it. That's released. And then to relatch it, you push the hood down, push that down, make sure it clicks into place. These need to be lubed from time to time. You can just spray some lube in there, like a WD-40 or even like a white lithium grease. We're in the interior of the 1970 Firebird built by Allspeed Customs. We want to basically show you the interior components and what we need to do to start this car and make it run. It's got a 6-speed transmission, it's a Tremec Trans. Reverse is all the way over and up. The shift pattern is on the shift ball here, and that is accurate. It's got the stock radio. Doesn't run off that though. We've got a full custom stereo system in here, which is all controlled by iPod. So all you have to do is hook up your iPod or your iPod Touch. The cables are right here in the center console. You've got your audio jack in your main jack, and then you can shuffle through, adjust the volume up or down. You also have controls over here on the lower left kick panel which can turn the stereo on or off and adjust the level of bass and treble. You've got an emergency brake here, which can be depressed with the standard brake release cable. Headlights are here, wipers are here, standard 70 Pontiac stuff. We've got a small switch here, which is the lower front fog lights or driving lights. Air conditioning controls are here. You've got your fan. You can adjust your fan up or down. You can switch from main vents, defrost vents, or floor vents. And then to turn the AC on, you have to turn all the way clockwise and then back to your desired temperature setting. You've got a cigarette lighter here. All your normal gauges. You've got your tach, oil pressure, water temperature, speedometer. Fuel gauge is accurate. Voltmeter. The accessory gauges down here are going to be your vacuum boost gauge, your air fuel ratio gauge, and then your EGT temperature gauge. To start this vehicle, you don't need any sort of key. It's just a push button start to power up the whole system. You've got the toggle switch here. You should just turn it on. That'll run all of your accessories. It primes the fuel system, and then to start the vehicle, it's just a matter of pushing the engine start button and then letting off once the vehicle's running. We also have power windows in this vehicle. There's one on each side. Push forward for up, down to go down. The main fuse panel is in the stock location, which is just right in front of your left foot here. You can access all the fuses except the main fuse from the battery. The main battery fuse is located just under this kick panel here. You have to remove 2 screws, and then you can access, it's a 60 amp maxi fuse. The XFI fast fuel injection control system is right in front of the passenger's footwell underneath the carpet. You can pull back the carpet, access the computer. Up behind the dash panel, behind the glove box, is the MSD ignition box and all the vintage air components. So if you ever need to access the coil or the MSD box, it's actually back behind the glove box panel. You also have a onboard fire extinguisher, and we have the computer cable that can be plugged into any laptop running the XFI software to allow for tuning or fine adjustments of the vehicle. Primarily, we wrap this up, tuck it underneath the carpet. Other than that, it's pretty standard. We've got dome lights, speakers. We've got the 5-point seatbelt harness, which is easily adjusted. You can just pull on these tabs to lengthen the belt, pull it back where you need it. It's a cam lock system, so it has to be centered, and you can push any of the belts in. They're locked in automatic. To release, you can give it just a half turn there, a quarter of a turn, and it'll release. Other than that, pretty straightforward. That's the interior and the controls here on the Firebird. Okay, we're going to show you the trunk, inside, and any important features. The trunk works basically just with a prop rod. You can turn the key, open the trunk, and then there's a prop rod here that's hinged. You can go right up here in this area. You've got access to your speakers. There's also a small storage box. You just push it and it unlatches. On either side of the interior of the trunk, there's a panel here that's held on by magnets. You can pop the panel off, and then you have dual Optima red top batteries, one on either side. The easiest way to jump start this or charge it, you have access to the positive side here on the driver's side. You have access to the negative side on the passenger side, so you can just hook one cable to each. The batteries are hooked in series, and it will charge the whole system. Other than that, if you ever needed to access the center exit exhaust, you would have to remove the interior trunk panels, and there's a tunnel that runs over the gas tank, and that's where the remainder of the exhaust is. I'd like to congratulate you on your purchase of this 1970 Firebird, custom built here by Allspeed Customs. My name is Brian Moan. I'm one of the owners here at Allspeed Customs. If you should need anything, we'd be happy to assist you in any way. You can call or email us. I will put contact information in the car, So you can send me an email, any parts that you would need, any technical advice, or manuals on any of the components featured in this car. I'll be able to help you with. If you have any other needs or any future projects that you may be interested in having us build here at Allspeed Customs, we would love to speak with you. Feel free to contact us directly. Again, thanks a lot.